Hey guys, and welcome back to the NPA for week number 9's Game of the Week as voted on by the coaches. This is the match between MissSnowBunny and Corey the Crumb, aka KorethTheManGamer. MissSnowBunny and the Golden State Gogoats are 6-1 at the top of your screen. At the bottom of your screen, Corey is 3-5 with the St. Louis Swamperts. Their 6 Pokemon. Corey is bringing Forretress, Furfrou, Mega Swampert, Moltres, Tornadus Incarnate, and Raticate, leaving Conkeldurr, Gothitelle, Magneton, Dragonite, and Gourgeist on the bench. While Jen is bringing Mega Slowbro, Gogoat, Umbreon, Snorlax, Crustle, and Zapdos, leaving Sawk, her newly acquired Pokemon, Cloyster, Dusclops, Goodra, and Klinklang on the bench. So with that being said, let's jump right into this battle. So Jen is issuing a challenge, and this is a rather long battle, but don't worry, we'll speed up a part or two. So it's going to be a Forretress versus a Zapdos lead, and one of the things that a lot of people don't really know is that Zapdos carry Heat Wave. It's a very common move, especially in VGC. In singles, I'm not positive how common it is, but you gotta know Zapdos has this capability. So it goes for the Heat Wave, it knocks down the Forretress to its sturdy, and it holds up a red card at the Zapdos. Not what I was expecting, but in comes the Slowbro, and the Forretress is going to set up its Stealth Rocks. So, not an ideal first turn for either team, per se. But the Slowbro is now forced to evolve, Mega Evolve, and it becomes its Mega Slowbro with the Cloyster, or the Shelter, now completely eating it. Forretress goes for the very slow Volt Switch, which still outspeeds the Slowbro, and it does about 20%, 15% or so, and in comes top percent, the Raticate. I can't agree with this play at all. Goes for the Scald, and the Scald is going to do a ton of damage, and it gets the burn. Normally, that's a good thing for Raticate. Raticates like being burned. I don't think this Raticate liked being burned, as you'll see in a minute. So, it's going to take its damage, and in preparation for a hit from this Raticate, Jen tries to go for a Slack Off, but the Raticate has Taunt on it, and that is going to prevent that. And on the next turn, Raticate goes for the Double Edge. This was the first indication that this is not a Guts Raticate. So that's the first thing. I'm assuming it's Hustle Raticate, because 1, you always use Facade over Double Edge. It's just the first rule of using a Raticate if you are Guts. And 2, look how much damage this Double Edge does. If that was Guts, that should have done, I don't even know, maybe 50% to the Slowbro, being that it's 120 stab plus Guts boosted. But instead, Raticate goes down in a heap, and Slowbro uses a Scald. So that's the first Pokemon down for Corey, and Jen is in a pretty good spot right now. So Forretress comes back out and sets up Toxic Spikes, which is interesting. I don't like Toxic Spikes if it's one set of Toxic Spikes, but because it's only a little bit of that Sludge Bomb poison. It adds up eventually, but still. As the Slowbro does take out the Forretress, so it's a 6v4 advantage, and in comes Furfrou. So Jen is going to switch out of there pretty quickly, and in comes Umbreon to deal with the Furfrou. And Furfrou is a really interesting Pokemon because it has Fur Coat, which halves all physical attack damage to it, and has pretty good special defense, plus Cotton Guard, so it's a very versatile support Pokemon. It can do some good damage, as it goes for the Snarl, and obviously Snarl will lower its special attack by 1 stage. It was intended for the Slowbro, but either way, Umbreon is poisoned, and Furfrou is going to switch out because it can't do too much damage to an Umbreon. So in comes Popeyes the Moltres. And Moltres has its Pressure, it's that Firebird, that red chickeny Firebird right now. As Umbreon goes for the Toxic, it's a very safe Toxic, as Umbreon, a very bulky Pokemon, is a stalling type, is just pretty much its nature, and being able to Toxic something like Moltres, which is relatively bulky, is always a good thing. So, or a Furfrou, either one. So, Moltres is now poisoned, and Umbreon goes for the Wish, which, you know, it's going to be pretty difficult to take out the Umbreon in 2 turns, per se, especially if it's outspeeding. But instead, the Moltres goes for a Roar, and out comes the Zapdos, which will take 25% from the Stealth Rocks. So Moltres is starting to rack up that toxic damage, as it's going to switch out Zapdos, sitting pretty right here across from it. In comes Shrek the Swampert. Swampert is going to be the Mega Swampert. Goes for the Thunderbolt, and that obviously will do nothing. The Wish comes true, and Zapdos is back up to full health. So Corey is going to Mega Evolve his Swampert. And this Zapdos is Jen's favorite Pokemon, it seems, from her team. It's her most dangerous one, as Zapdos is going to go for a Hidden Power, and that is Hidden Power Grass with the Life Orb. It doesn't take out the Swampert, but it does a heaping amount of damage. Ice Beam in return, not enough, and the Swampert's going to switch out. So we know 3 of the moves on the Zapdos, being Hidden Power Grass, being Thunderbolt, and being Heat Wave. In comes Tornadus, which is going to take that Hidden Power Grass pretty nicely. And here is a bit of a tough situation to be in. So Tornadus is going to go for the knockoff. And Zapdos is a relatively bulky Pokemon, so unless this is built fully offensive, this should not kill the Zapdos. But if you had another attack, and you could at least damage it, it could kill itself from Life Orb recoil. So this is a really tough situation to be in, one way or the other. But it seems that the knockoff is going to come out from the Tornadus. It is not going to take out the Zapdos. The Thunderbolt will come out, and it will absolutely kill the Tornadus. And now the Zapdos is still on the field. So like I said, it's a very tough situation to be in for Corey, because that's really just kind of a bad spot no matter what. In comes Furfrou, and out goes Zapdos. Coming right back in is Umbreon, as Jen has completely dominated the pace of this match. And Sucker Punch comes out from the Furfrou. It's going to fail, and Umbreon is doing its thing, taking its Leftovers recovery with its Wish recovery in its back pocket. So Furfrou is going to switch right back out. And in comes Popeyes, the Moltres, which is still Toxic Poisoned. Maybe expecting another Toxic from the Umbreon, as the Umbreon will go for the Wish once more. And with Zapdos at the end of its rope, it might be something to... Well, actually, it can't switch back in because of the Stealth Rock damage. So I don't know why she switched out the Zapdos. I guess maybe as just a switch in later, maybe. I think that's probably the only thing she can do. She goes for the Heal Bell. So we know 2 of the moves, or 3 of the moves on this Umbreon. It's Heal Bell, Wish, Toxic. As Popeyes is going to go for the Roar, hoping to get some damage on something. And in comes the Snorlax off the Roar. So Snorlax is in, and Snorlax is going to take minimal damage from the Stealth Rocks, and it's poisoned now. So this is not an immunity Snorlax. It very well could be a thick, fat Snorlax, or something of that nature. But Moltres is taking its toxic damage, and Snorlax is taking its normal poison damage. As you can see, this is a little bit longer match because of all of the toxic and the poison. As Moltres is going to go for a U-turn, get some physical damage against the Snorlax, doesn't do too much. As Corey is going to get right on out of there, and switch back into his Furfrou. So Furfrou is going to absorb a Body Slam from this Snorlax, and it's going to do about 42 HP, that's about 25%. A little bit more than 25%. So now it's Snorlax versus Furfrou, and the Snorlax is taking a little bit of damage. I mean, the poison is obviously not going to be adding up in terms of number, but it's still going to be doing a good amount, as the Furfrou goes for the Cotton Guard. And Cotton Guard will raise its defenses by +3, but the Snorlax has Whirlwind. It takes a huge yawn, and in comes Popeyes, the Moltres once more. So it's still a 6v3, but I'd say that, Zapdos is indisposed at the moment. Moltres is in, dealing with the Snorlax now, and this is one of those interesting situations where you can't really do much against a Snorlax. Its special defenses are so high. Popeyes goes for the Hurricane. It's not going to do anything. Out comes it's going to miss, and Body Slam's going to come out, and that puts it into 2-hit KO range. So another Body Slam will take out the Snorlax. Unfortunately, Moltres did miss its Hurricane. It is only 70% accuracy, so that is not too uncommon, but can't imagine it would have done too much. And here, the Moltres must have gone for a Roar, as the Snorlax is going to go for a Body Slam, and it's going to go down. I don't get that play at all. I don't know if that's just giving up the Moltres, but another Hurricane there probably would have been the ideal situation, or something, but when you clearly outspeed a Snorlax, I don't understand using a -6 priority move when one more hit will take you out. But it's now a 6v2 situation with Jen clearly in the lead. The Snorlax is getting whittled down a little bit, but in comes Shrek, the Swampert, to try to deal some damage to Snorlax. We'll see how much it can do, as Snorlax is actually going to switch out, and in comes the Slowbro. So Slowbro at about 60%, down to about 50 after the Stealth Rock's damage, and Poison is going to take an Ice Beam from this Mega Swampert. So Slowbro takes the Ice Beam, does a decent amount, but with the Poison damage, it's in almost KO range, it's about 25%. Shrek goes for the Sludge Wave. The Sludge Wave comes out and actually takes out the Slowbro, so Jen's Mega is down, but Swampert is really kind of worse for wear here, as Gogoat will come in for the first time, and it's going to get toxic or poisoned and take some Stealth Rock's damage. So out goes the Swampert once more, and in comes Furfrou, and this is where things become very, very, very stally. So I'm actually going to fast forward all of this for you guys. So it's worth noting that on this Furfrou, the set that Corey is running is Snarl, Cotton Guard, Takedown, and Sucker Punch with leftovers. I don't understand Takedown at all, because you're only going to be hurting yourself in terms of damage. It's a 90% power, it's a 90 power move, 85 accuracy, when Return or Frustration both are better options. If it's a Genned Pokemon, Frustration is easily the best option. If not, then Return is probably something you should at least consider. But Takedown is just the worst possible thing you could put on this Furfrou, because you're going to be consistently losing health every time you use it. And this is just a stall fest. It's Horn Leech and Milk Drink from the Gogoat, and it's just a back and forth of stall at this point. But it is a 5v2 situation, so Corey is basically fighting for his life here. He's up to +6 on the Furfrou with its Cotton Guard, but the Takedown crits the Gogoat. It would have killed it otherwise, but rather if that was Frustration that got the crit. Alright, but back to the action. The Gogoat finally switches out into the Crustle. First time we've seen Crustle so far in this game. And the Crustle is going to take 25% from the Stealth Rocks because of its bug typing, and it does get that base poison. So Furfrou goes for the Takedown onto the Crustle. I mean, it does a very small amount of damage, and obviously it's not very effective, and then it takes a little bit of recoil from that Takedown as well. So Furfrou is kind of in an interesting spot, as the Crustle is going to take the poison damage. Furfrou goes for a Snarl. Instead of something else, goes for the Snarl, lowers the special attack by 1 stage. If it did have a white herb, that would have broken it. So that actually was a pretty smart move, as it goes for the Shell Smash. And the Shell Smash will get +2 special attack, +2 attack, +2 speed, -1 defense, or -2 defense, whatever that is. As the Crustle is going to take the damage, and it's actually going to crack its Lychee Berry, which raises attack 1 more stage. Furfrou goes for the Sucker Punch against the now weakened Crustle's defenses, and it's going to take it out. So, you know, this Furfrou is not giving up without a fight. It is currently a 4v2 situation, so Umbreon's going to come in here, It's going to take some damage from the Stealth Rocks and the Poison again. And Furfrou is going to go for the takedown. It is going to connect, and it's going to do a lot to the Umbreon with a crit. This is its chance as it goes for... Well, Umbreon goes for the Toxic onto the Furfrou. And unfortunately, that pretty much should seal up this match because there's no way that Furfrou can outlive everything else. And Gogoats still is there with its Horn Leech to outspeed and take out the Swampert in the back. Plus, the Snorlax is still around. So, the Toxic is going to start wearing onto the Furfrou. The normal Poison does its mark to the Umbreon, and the Furfrou goes for a takedown and misses! That is why you don't use takedown ever. Ever, ever, forever, never, ever. As the Wish comes out, that's going to bring something back to full health, as the Umbreon is going to go down after the Leftovers recovery to the Poison, which makes it a 3v2, as Corey's kind of clawed his way back into it, but it seems like Jen has set herself up late game to win this one, as the Furfrou is pretty quickly whittling away. In comes the Snorlax, which will get put back up to full health thanks to the Wish, if it can survive a takedown. Oh, well, it doesn't much matter because the takedown misses. Body Slam comes out from the Snorlax. It's not going to do anything, but the Wish comes out, and that brings Snorlax up to about 75% HP. And this is, like I said, pretty much all but over. The Snorlax is going to get its recovery, and at this point, Furfrou is basically dead to rights. It's going to outspeed one more time, but there's nothing it can really do here. I guess a takedown crit would be the only thing that could survive, that could help out here. Gets the takedown, no crit. Snorlax back under 50%, but Furfrou finally goes down, so it's Mega Swampert versus a Zapdos, which will die the next time it switches in, the Gogoat, and the Snorlax. So realistically, it's a 2-0 or 2-1 game right now, but Swampert's going to switch in with 41 HP. This is it seems, a special attacking Swampert as it goes for the Scald. Not going to do anywhere near enough to the Snorlax with the Poison. It's not going to get burned, and the Body Slam comes out, and that is your battle. So, Jen technically wins 3-0, but it was really more of a 2-0 victory here. This was a really awesome battle between these two competitors, as Jen will improve to 7-1. Corey will fall to 3-6. I hope you guys enjoyed. I am Moonlight Swami, your commentator. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll be talking to you guys later. Peace.